We're going to take a close look now at that Baldwin Hills fire that sprang up late this afternoon and absolutely caught everybody off guard. It started, as we mentioned earlier, about 10 minutes till 4. Now, this is a live scene. You're right, a few minutes before 3. This is a late scene. Now, this is what happened earlier on. Absolutely no warning. It was an arson fire. Someone started it apparently down on La Brea. It swept up and into the residential area with no warning whatsoever.
It went through so fast that the firemen say that several people may have been caught in the conflagration. They know at least 2 dead. We saw their bodies out on the street earlier today. There's some word that they may have been trapped inside behind bars in their windows, but we don't know yet if those are the same 2 that were seen, the bodies seen outside. They're afraid they may find more bodies, and firemen are right now going door to door to see if everyone is all right in those other houses.
In the early going, firemen, even though they were on the scene, could not give us an early indication of the accurate count of homes involved, and they speculate that what may have happened with some of the victims.
When it first started, apparently an automobile was coming off the hill slow. Someone from an automobile threw some type of object out to start a fire, and I proceeded up the hill to try to evacuate some people, which is an apartment over here. They were being engulfed in smoke, senior citizens. I came up and I fought the fire from the start. I've been out here for 45 minutes. I'm still out here, and hopefully I'll stay here until it's over with.
Okay, that was an eyewitness who was talking to Bill Lagatuda about someone that he saw throw something, possibly a Molotov cocktail, some kind of incendiary device, out a window, and then that fire raced up the hill. We are now going to Laurel Erickson, who is live now at the evacuation center at Dorsey High, where they're getting ready for as many as 300 people, Laurel.
Kirsty, I want to tell you an amazing story. We just talked with a man named Abby Ward. He is blind, and we talked with Mary Ward. Abby Ward, I didn't ask him how old he is, but I think he is, here he is coming toward us right now. Abby Ward is blind. He was caught in a house that caught on fire. Just a second. Sir?
Yes.
Hi. I'm Laurel Erickson from NBC, and we're on live right now.
Yes.
Can you tell me what happened this afternoon? Now, you were caught in a house?
Yes, I was in the house when the fire hit the house. And I just said the whole story just like it was. It's very short. I was sitting down listening at the radio, and I heard something like the wind was blowing, you know, like maybe a storm was fixing to come up like, and so I said, well, let me go look out the front here. And I got to when I looked out the front door, it was calm out there. And then I said, no, it must be a fire. And I turned around and started back, and the heat from the fire hit me in the face. It had to broke through the back window and hit me in the face, and then that's when I turned and went out in the center of the yard. That was it.
But I also understand that there were 2 children involved in this, sir, who helped you some?
And yet it was 2 girls know me. I don't know them. But I was going up the street. I didn't have my stick to walk with, and I was going fast as I could, and they come running and said, Mr. Wade, we come after you. The whole place is burning up. And one got on one side and one got, and we run on up the street.
Well, so we're very glad to see you here and alive, and all of your family and friends were, too.
And I'm glad to be here, too.
Okay, sir, thank you very much. If you want to just stay here, that's fine. As we say, we are at Dorsey High. It's on Farmdale, 3537. If you have someone missing in this fire, the Red Cross has an emergency number you can call. It is 213-739-5200. He wants to go back in with his family, and understandably so. One of the more amazing stories we have come across here at the Red Cross Evacuation Center, and we will be here throughout the evening reporting live. Kirsty, John?
Okay,
Laurel,
thank you very much.
you.
A lot of heroes in today's fire, not the least of whom are city and county firefighters. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.
Teenagers experiencing difficulties can call Teen Line Cares 6 to 10, 7 nights a week. Trained teenage volunteers are ready to talk and to listen.
Right now, your Toyota dealers have thousands of trucks and vans. No wonder he wants you to make him an offer.
I just got this ridiculous offer on the white cargo van.
Take it!
Excuse me?
Take it!
You know the silver van? This is their best offer, sorry.
Sold.
Look, I got this.
I'll take it.
Take it?
There's never been a better time to make an offer on a Toyota truck or van.
Yes, yes.
Never a better time to answer this question.
What will you do with all the money you save? Just for the one of it, just for the fun of it, just for the taste of it, Diet Coke.
the great taste of Diet Coke and caffeine-free Diet Coke. Same real cola taste and no caffeine.
We are back now with our special report on the Southland fires today. We do understand that the Baldwin Hills fire is contained, and I want to ask Bill Lagatuda now, who is live out at the scene. I see that this fire is out behind you, Bill, but are there others that they're still fighting?
There are small patches of flames throughout this neighborhood, and we'll show you some, I believe, in just a moment. This is the terrible nightmare that a firestorm like this can cause. We're on Don Midalgro Drive, where 11 homes have been destroyed. This is what's left of an expensive home, 6255 Don Migraldo Road. Nothing but a shell. The only thing standing, the brick walls. As you can see, the firemen in there squirting hoses on the hot spots that you were asking about, Kirsty. Small pockets of flame. They're wetting the entire contents down. Obviously, a total loss here. We have a new total damage figure as of this hour, and it is $15 million. This is what's called mopping up. These are firemen watering down the hot spots. My colleague Patrick Healy is with me. He has been down at the command post with Mayor Bradley, who has been on the scene for a while now. Patrick, you talked to him.
Bill, the mayor left just a short time ago to return to City Hall to sign a declaration of an emergency that will be forwarded to the governor in Sacramento, to be forwarded to Washington, D.C., to get some emergency money here to the Baldwin Hills. Before the mayor left, we talked to him briefly, and now, if we could, we'll take a look at those comments of Mayor Bradley just a few minutes ago.
It was obvious that it was deliberately set at multiple locations. That's the act and the work of an arsonist, and these two deaths that have occurred then make it a homicide. Both our police department and the fire arson units will be investigating this matter.
Have you heard any additional information on the leads on the one suspect in the blue clothing?
No, nothing more.
What can the city do for the individuals in the partially destroyed houses? Where will they stay tonight?
I've already instructed the preparation of the paperwork for declaration of emergency, and I'm going back to City Hall now and sign it. It will be delivered to the governor, who I understand will come down sometime tomorrow and sign it.
All right, we're back here live, Patrick. What does that mean for the residents here, some of whom have lost everything?
Well, it may be a while before these loans come through, but the mayor is confident that these will be signed. The declaration will be signed. There should be no problem. So ultimately, they will get the low-interest loans. One other point that the mayor did emphasize, Bill, was that he feels L.A. City Fire Department was adequately staffed for this. There was no problem with the fact that L.A. had 100 firefighters out in Ventura on that Ojai fire. He felt that the City Fire Department did an outstanding job in responding to this quickly, and nothing else could be done.
That was a quote from Don Manning, the fire chief, who said, once we saw this fire, we threw everything we had into it. They did their best, but as we said, the very latest damage total, at least $15 million. And I think it's safe to say the damage is climbing as we continue to look through some of these burned out homes and as firemen sift through the rubble and as residents slowly return to survey all that they have lost. John and Kirsty, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Bill and Pat. As we said, the injured in the fire were split up between two hospitals as far as we can put together at this point. Some of them went to Daniel Freeman Hospital. The others are at the Brotman Memorial Medical Center. That's in Culver City, and our Bob Navarro is standing by with an update on the conditions there. Bob.
John, that is true. 4 of the burn victims were brought here to the Michael Jackson Burn Center, which is part of the Brotman Medical Center in Culver City. They include 3 who are in stable condition, 1 who is in critical condition, and about 25-30 minutes ago, a fireman was brought here, John Sanchez, L.A. City fireman, suffering from heat exhaustion, stomach cramps, and also some disorientation. We are told that he is in very good condition. In critical condition is 64-year-old Vivian Shertla. And we'd hope to have some tape. Also, there's someone else arriving here. Is this a, this is another fireman coming in right now. He looks pretty much the way that the first one did. Again, heat exhaustion, which is nothing uncommon, obviously, as any firefighter will tell you. And we are hoping that that all has gone well. He's gone in. This is John Sanchez, who came in about 45 minutes ago. And about an hour ago, we talked with another burn victim, 77-year-old Milton Shertla.
Everything seemed to be burning, all kinds of smoke. You could hardly see to get there. Of course, everybody running in all directions, trying to find out something or do something. Sort of panicky.
Well, that was a policeman, all right. I was incorrect. That was a policeman who came in here suffering from heat exhaustion, I'm told, and I think we are waiting for someone else. Dick, is someone else in the ambulance as well? And I think we are getting a firefighter coming in and someone else coming in, so that brings the total 6 now at the Michael Jackson Burn Center in Culver City. Back to you in Burbank.
Okay, Bob, thank you very much. We're going to take a break now, and we will have the latest on the fires when we come back.
I'm Teresa Saldana. The victims of a violent crime not only suffer the physical pain of bodily harm, but they must also live with the emotional pain that results. If you or a loved one is a victim of a violent crime, you can get help.
I admit it, Hughes buyers are picky. They really know top-quality fruits and vegetables. Beautiful. You know, some Hughes buyers have been at it for 20 years. They...
Didn't you see that spot?
What spot?
Rookie.
Fanatic. They're even picky about prices.
Fresh ground beef, 67 cents a pound. And Bing cherries, 77 cents a pound.
There was nothing wrong with that apple.
Thrifty brand and the national brand. Can you tell the difference? Well, in test after test, the national brands did perform as well as ours. So can you tell which is which? We guarantee that if you're ever dissatisfied with the Thrifty brand, we'll give you a comparable national brand free. Now can you tell them apart? Okay, we'll tell you. It's the price. Thrifty brands cost a lot less. So if you can't tell the difference, why pay the difference? Thrifty brand for thrifty people, only at Thrifty Drug.
Today, Jimmy Smith and his family explored an African jungle, encountered savage pirates, and took a spaceship to another galaxy. They saw flying elephants and fireworks and an electrical parade. But when the Smiths went to Disneyland, they brought home more than wonderful memories. They won a new GM car. So could you. Come to Disneyland's 30th year celebration, where the best has just begun.
Southland weather with Fritz Coleman on the Channel 4 News.
You know, Sunday and yesterday, when these fires started popping up in Southern California, firefighters said, thank God there is no wind. It is hot, the humidity is very low, those two elements very dangerous, but if we had had high winds, we could have lost some of these fires. Well, today the winds kicked in and they did lose some of them. Actually, they never got a chance to fight some of them because they just exploded under the area. Fritz Coleman is standing by in the hills up above Mulholland now to let us know what's going to happen in the area of that critical element, the winds.
Looks like they're picking up, Fritz.
Well, Kirsty and John, since we went on the air with these broadcasts about 4 o'clock, we've been fluctuating between 10 and 15 miles an hour with a southwesterly wind. Almost miraculously, that worked to the benefit of the firefighting operations down in the Baldwin Hills area, because as we told you before, they were on the protected side of those hills, the side facing the east end to the north. And so the puffs of smoke and whatever blaze was left was blowing out towards the east, and it was protected by the enormous hills right in back there. It's very interesting to stand at this particular vantage point because we have just the plume and the stratus of the almost completely clear smoke blowing eastward from the Baldwin Hills fire. Then on the upper level, we have the smoke coming down from the northwest in the Ojai fire, and it just seems like there are several different layers of smokes coming from different fires around Southern California. It's really sort of an eerie feeling. The winds could have been worse. The good part about all of this weather is that this was not a Santa Ana condition. The cause of our hot weather last couple of days has been a giant dome of relentless high pressure right at the border of California and Arizona. It's just a high pressure. There is no wind. It is not an easterly strong gust of Santa Ana breezes that could have been devastating in all courses with the firefighting. We expect this bad weather to continue for the next couple of days through at least the 4th of July weekend. Now, if this is going to hamper in any way or rearrange some of the fireworks displays expected over the 4th of July, we don't know. But, you know, Southern California is not the only area getting it. I'll give you some high temperatures around here today. We tied a record from 1907. It was 102 at the Civic Center. 107 is where we peaked out in the San Fernando Valley. 105 in Pasadena and Northridge. But the entire state was getting it. In Oakland, up over 100, 90 degrees in San Francisco, and for the first time since 1972, it was 109 in Santa Barbara at the airport. Now, for them to be 80 degrees is hot. 109 at the Santa Barbara airport. We don't see any end from in sight for this. We will say one thing. there could be something that would act on us in the next couple of days that would at least give it some relief in the western communities along the coast, and that would be a thermal low to get more intense in the desert. And as we've told you the last couple of weeks, as the temperatures get higher in both the northern and southern desert, it acts as a vacuum and sucks the cool ocean breezes on land. That may knock the temperatures in the coastal communities down a couple of degrees, but it would take several days for that to get in and affect the inland communities in any way. We're lucky in two accounts. It's not a Santa Ana. The winds were just right at the right time of the day to not exacerbate the firefighting problems in Baldwin Hills or Ojai, but there is no end in sight for the heat. I wish I could say there was, but there isn't. Back to you folks now.
Okay, Fritz, thank you very much. We understand we have an update now from Bill Lagatuda, who is in the neighborhood that is burned out now. And Bill, do you see any of the firefighters that are going through looking for people, or have they passed through your area?
Yes, they are, Kirsty, intermittently. As we say, we're flying by the seat of our pants here, just moving from house to house in the neighborhood. I have a gentleman here. We're standing outside his house on Don McGraldo. Your house appears not to have been damaged at all.
Only smoke damage, and it was singed on the north side of the house.
That's probably because you didn't have a shake roof on here like so many others?
That was the most important thing, because we did not have the shake roof. With the shake roof, it would not have been here.
All right, thank you. The luck was with him. It was with several other people. As we strolled through this neighborhood, we saw perhaps one or two houses burned, then a house untouched, then several others burned. This one behind me is the one that we've been showing you for the past few minutes. This perhaps illustrates what kind of damage a fire can do best. Only the concrete walls remain. And nature is full of ironies, and so are terrible disasters like this. Outside this house, the car that belonged to the gentleman who owned it, and his license plate. Take a look at that. All right, John and Kirsty, we're back here live, I believe. 7 people have been injured, new figures. 7 people have been injured, including several firemen and several policemen, overcome by smoke, though not seriously. The emergency personnel were not seriously injured. And I believe you've been reporting the more serious figures about the residents here who were hurt, and of course the 2 fatalities, the man and the woman who were found about 3 blocks from here outside their home early on in this disaster. The fire burned for 3 hours, and the final figure, although it is far from over, this crisis, the final figure shows us that the flames were officially contained at 5:02 p.m. tonight. All right, we're looking at some more pictures now, I believe, of the fire crews as they are completing their mop-up of this area. They're letting people in one by one to try and identify what's left of their belongings. There have been some cars scattered along here outside the home. Some have been burned, some have not been. And the damage, we're told, at this hour, $15 million. That's the very latest we have here. John and Kirsty, back to you.
All right. Okay, Bill Lagatuda, thank you very much. We'll check back in a few minutes. We're going to take a break. We'll come back in a few minutes with some more figures on the Baldwin Hills fire and an update on the condition of the other fires still burning this evening across Southern California.
Builder's Emporium breaks the price on Prestone 2 antifreeze, now only $2.99 a gallon after manufacturer's rebate, minimum 2 gallons.
We got the message, Mr. Sigaloff.
The MGM Grand Hotel in Las Vegas. This is what the best is all about. And now's a grand time to get away during the MGM's fantastic Summer Jubilee. A 3-day, 2-night vacation for only $59, including a late performance of Don Arden's multi-million-dollar stage extravaganza, Jubilee. All for just $59. So plan now to have your own Summer Jubilee. See your travel agent or call toll-free for an MGM Summer Jubilee.
How are those meetings going, Mike?
Well, I seem to help some people, Chuck, but it's just not doing it for me.
Call Schick Hospital.
Well, I know Schick helped you, but I've been drinking heavy for 10 years. I think I need more than a 10-day program.
Schick has a unique medical treatment. It helps you lose the craving for alcohol. They even use it in their 2-day follow-ups.
I'll give Schick a call.
Schick hospitals have a #1 success rate and are covered by most insurance.
As we said earlier, there are over 300 refugees from the Baldwin Hills fire. We're going to switch now to Laurel Erickson, who is standing by at one of the evacuation centers. Well, I understand we're not going to go to Laurel right now. We're going to go to
Tom,
Harvey Levin.
John, we're going to Harvey Levin. We have reported that an official state of emergency does exist. Mayor Bradley announced it this afternoon. He said he was going to sign the paperwork, get that up to Governor Deukmejian, and he hoped they would have an answer and some information for folks by tomorrow. Now, Harvey Levin, our legal advisor, is in the newsroom with more important specific information on where victims can get help. Harvey.
And there are places to turn, Kirsty. First of all, as Laurel said, the best place for immediate help is the Red Cross. They can supply you with food, clothing, medical aid, and shelter. Now, you can get in touch with the Red Cross at the emergency shelter.
And trade stories a little bit and seek the comfort of people in similar situations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Myers. Naturally, we will have updates for you through the night on 11 o'clock Eyewitness News. In Baldwin Hills, Lonnie Lardner, Channel 7 Eyewitness News. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Lonnie.
And in case people are still working to get in touch with their family, their friends who might be affected in this Baldwin Hills fire, we can tell you that they're waiting to answer your questions and help you if you call the Red Cross at area code 213.
Your home, even if you didn't suffer property damage. Many insurance policies will reimburse you if you have to go to a hotel.
Weather conditions for fire here, high winds, extremely high temperatures, and low humidity have contributed to what's known as a red flag alert, extremely dangerous conditions all over the Southland as other fires continue to burn out of control tonight. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with tonight. The biggest brush fire is in Ventura County in Ojai, where 9,000 acres have been consumed so far.
An animal and you don't have a place to live or shelter.
Still raging out of control, and firefighters are still not sure when they will be able to get a handle on this one.
John and Kirsty, back to you.
Thanks, Harvey, for what really is some vital information to a lot of people at this point in time. And as we said, 300 of those people have been evacuated and are being kept at temporary shelters. Laurel Erickson is standing by now at Dorsey High School, one of those shelters. Laurel.
Well, John and Kirsty, we have got now, I would say, about 4 people. There's been some confusion on how many people the Red Cross can accommodate, and what we understand is it is 100. We are going to show you a tape now of some of the people coming in. Each story is sad, and the people are really emotional. This tape we're going to show you now is a family coming into Dorsey High, and they're waiting to get word about their children.
For the other children, they want to get some of them that were out, but from what he said, that it was too hot. They had to leave.
He's all right. He's all right. Don't cry. He's all right. I went to see him, Buddy Tracy. He's fine. You know, I went to leave him until the police beat his big mama because they wouldn't let him hit your road. Yeah. It's all right. We got him. Where'd you leave your dad at? Yes, they brought it to me at work.
That is one of the joyous scenes. We have seen others. We told you about a man, an elderly man, blind, caught in his home, walked out. They felt the flames, walked out the front door into the street. 2 young girls saved him, brought him to a rescue team. We've talked to another fellow who lost his whole house. We just interviewed an elderly woman who heard people calling, come out, come out. 2 young men came in, rescued her, brought her out. Her dogs were killed in the fire. Her house has been burned to the ground. We have here now the Red Cross official, Paul Myers. Can you tell us what the Red Cross is going to be able to do for some of these people this evening and tonight, throughout the night?
Thank you. Yes, right now we're going to start our supper feeding, and we'll be feeding as long as we have victims. As you've seen inside the shelter, we have cots and blankets, medical facilities, and things to sort of make the evacuees feel at home. We'll be distributing comfort kits that have personal items and things like that to tide them over while they seek permanent shelter.
How many people do you expect here tonight?
We're still expecting 100, although we don't have anywhere near that in the shelter now, other than we have an awful lot of people that are interested in finding people whose houses were destroyed or damaged.
Okay, real good. Do you have any advice? Now, we have been giving out the number that apparently is also for the Fire Victims Fund, the 739-5200 number. Is there any other place that people can call? What would you suggest? There's so many people who don't know where their loved ones are.
That's the best number, 739-5200, and state that they're making a disaster welfare inquiry. And we have people standing by to help them.
That's terrific. Also, can you tell me about the Fire Victims Fund? I imagine that there are thousands of people who want to donate to that.
Sure, that can be sent to the Baldwin Hills Fire Victims Fund, the American Red Cross Los Angeles chapter at 2700 Wilshire, or they can call the 739-5200 number for additional information.
Okay, real good. Thank you, Mr. Myers, very much. So that's the story down here at Dorsey High on Farmdale, and you can call that Red Cross number if you need more information. Reporting live, Laurel Erickson, News for LA. Kirsty, John?
Okay, thank you, Laura. We have a report now of some live flames in the Baldwin Hills area. We're going to take a look at our helicopter, and there they are. Now, it's impossible with the darkness and the smoke here to give you an exact location, what street these flames are, but this is one of the hot spots Bill Lagatute was talking about, and the wind, of course, still a problem out there. So they're standing by, obviously, putting out the hot spots, and this one, of course, should be knocked down pretty quickly. It doesn't seem to be any danger of this spreading much further.
The firefighters did say an hour and a half ago that they had this fire contained, but that doesn't mean the fire's out. That means that they have a ring around it, and they don't believe that it can jump outside of that ring. However, it's very possible for these fires to flame up like this and then spread again to a building next door. You see the firemen walking right through there now, so they obviously are not running. They obviously know they've got this under control. It's not going to go beyond.
You can also see here that the smoke is going pretty much straight up and drifting and not blowing to one side or the other. So that, of course, is good news. And there's not much, you don't have to worry about the ashes moving from one of those shake shingle roofs to the other. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back with an update on the rest of the fires in Southern California right after this.
Have I lost my cool? Why are all the girls hanging out with Larry? Don't I also have the tan, the whistle, the cooler 7-Up?
Well, Larry's got a cooler of Sprite.
So?
So? Girls know Sprite tastes better than 7-Up. It even beat him in a taste test.
Sprite, huh?
Sure. Only Sprite has a great taste of lime.
You know, he's got something there. I only wish we had more of it here.
The winning taste of Sprite.
After the show has ended and everybody's gone home, that's when David Sheehan goes to work. It takes plenty of late hours to keep up with the movies, the music, the videos, and television from the networks to cable. David Sheehan knows your leisure time is special. So watch David Sheehan for the most wide-ranging reviews. David does the work so you can have the fun. David Sheehan on News for LA at 4, 5, and 11. Only on Channel 4.
We've just seen a spectacular live picture from John Marshall out at the Ojai fire. Unfortunately, it's a shot that nobody would like to see, John, with all that smoke in the air and the sun setting behind.
Well, John and Kirsty, 3 homes burned to the ground yesterday, but none today. That's the story here as the winds continue to blow the ashes by us gently here in Ojai. They were blowing through here at least 25 miles an hour, sometimes gusting much stronger than that, when an arsonist is believed to have set this blaze. More than 1,500 firefighters are now part of this massive firefighting force from nearby counties and even nearby states. But the fire is massive, more than 9,000 acres and growing. It is not only massive, it is also extremely difficult to fight in the rugged, steep, mountainous areas just north of Ojai. There were some close calls throughout this day, but each time a home was threatened in the foothill areas, firefighters would move in, they would take a stand, and they would win it. We learned a short time ago 600 young people from Camp Ramah will remain at the local high school and spend the night there. An earlier decision to send them back to their youth camp was rescinded. That was just a precautionary measure. They were evacuated early this morning, along with residents of a retirement home when the flames came a little too close, and of course the winds at that point were blowing very hard. So it is all here in the Ojai area quite dependent on which way and how hard the winds are blowing, but the firefighters tell us they are hopeful, they are quite ready if and when that happens. Reporting live from Ventura County, John Marshall, News 4 LA. John, Kirsten.
Okay, John,
thanks,
thank you.
John, very much. We're going to go back to Baldwin Hills now. Bill Lagatute is standing by. Bill, we saw a pretty good example just a couple of minutes ago from the helicopter, which you, of course, saw, that hot spot that flared up a few minutes ago.
That's right, John, and I'm persuaded to join me, Deputy Chief Don Anthony, as we take a look at some of the pictures that we have. He's going to bring us the very latest information. Sir, we're reporting 52 homes destroyed.
Yes, Bill, we have 52 homes totally destroyed and an additional 13 homes damaged 50% or less at this time for a total of 65 homes, approximately a $15 million loss.
We're looking at some scenes taken from our helicopter earlier, and we have reported that the fire department now says arson is definitely the cause. Any more word on that?
No, it has been determined that it is an incendiary fire, which is arson. It was deliberately set.
At this hour, what remains to be done here? What are the next steps?
Well, the next steps are overhauling the buildings. We do have to go through each one. There are a number of people who are reported missing. We have to make a thorough search of the ruins of these buildings and determine that we do not have anyone buried in there that may have died in the fire.
How many do we know, or do we think are missing? What do the reports say?
I've heard from 3 to 5 people at this time have not checked in. Their people in their home do not know their whereabouts, and we do have 2 confirmed fatalities at this time.
And what about hot spots? And as we can see right behind us, we turn around here, we see flames suddenly creeping out from beside this building. Hot spots, it'll take a while to put them out?
Certainly. We'll be here the remainder of the night and probably on through tomorrow digging out the hot spots and overhauling the buildings. Right now, our immediate concern is to determine there are no additional people buried into the buildings.
Deputy Chief Don Anthony, thank you. That's the very latest. John and Kirsty, again, back to you.
Thank you, Bill. And Chief, thank you very much. We will be back with more on the Baldwin Hills fire right after this.
What's going on? The grand opening of a new Black Flag Roach Motel.
In the bathroom?
The ones in the kitchen caught so many roaches, we're opening a chain.
To catch even more?
In the bathroom, basement, pantry.
Black Flag Roach Motel has caught and killed more roaches than any other trap without poison, insecticide, odor, or mess. Beware of imitations. Get the Black Flag Roach Motel, America's largest motel chain.
Roaches check in, but they don't check out.
All over the house.
Your eyes are about to deceive you. Here comes Fujifilm. With color pictures so true to life, it's a real breakthrough. Fuji HR Films. Fuji's advanced technology has developed a higher resolution film than we've ever had before. So we give you sharper pictures with truer color than ever before. Get extraordinary Fuji films and get the true picture.
Bring you up to date with the latest figures we have on the Baldwin Hills fire, the worst fire of the fire season by far in Southern California. This is a live shot as the sun goes down with a helicopter. As we said earlier, the fire is contained. It is not out. There are hot spots which fire crews will be on all night. Now, the latest numbers we have, at least 2 people dead, but 3 to 5 people missing, and they may find more bodies through the night. They're searching home to home. At least 8 people injured. That includes 1 fireman and 1 police officer. At least 65 homes have been damaged or destroyed. This is a graphic example of how quickly the fire went through earlier this afternoon. There are 52 homes completely destroyed, 13 of them more than 50% destroyed or heavily damaged. $13 million in damages, and arson and homicide investigators looking into it, since if they find the arsonist, this, of course, might be murder.
Again, if you have family or friends that you have not been able to locate, you need to go. It's best not to call. They're telling us the phone lines are jammed. Go to Dorsey High School or Windsor Hills School. They will be able to help you try to find your loved ones and your family tonight.
Complete coverage coming up on News 4 LA Nightside at 11 o'clock.
Thanks for being with us.
Homes.
LA's primetime news, the 9 o'clock news.
It happened so fast and without warning. A blistering flash fire swept through a Baldwin Hills neighborhood. Within minutes, the fire jumped from rooftop to rooftop, chasing residents into the street. All they could do was run from the fire. Tonight, the scene is devastation, empty shells and shattered lives. Good evening, I'm Tom Lawrence.
I'm Wendy Gordon. It has been described as like a war zone. Homes appear to have been bombed. Channel 9's Mark Trank has been on the scene of the Baldwin Hills fire since it began around 3 this afternoon, and he now has this live update for us. Mark?
Tom and Wendy, here is the latest information we have so far. We understand 2 persons have been killed, 10 injured, including 4 residents, 4 firefighters, and 2 police officers. 53 homes have been destroyed. I repeat, 53 homes totally destroyed by this devastating fire. 13 homes damaged, many of them heavily. The damage estimates we're being given now are being put at $16 million, and we understand the cause of this fire is definitely suspected to be arson. The fury wave of destruction swept through the Baldwin Hills neighborhood in a matter of minutes. Flames buffeted by high winds engulfed dozens of homes, leaving firefighters and residents alike dazed by the speed of it all. Witnesses say the flames spread up hillsides and over homes so quickly that some persons just couldn't escape. 2 residents died as flames swept across this street. Others were injured, some critically. And the cause of what is being called the worst fire in L.A. in 7 years is believed to be arson.
This one, without any doubt in our mind, was a set fire. And there apparently are witnesses that saw a device or devices thrown out of a vehicle off of La Brea.
Many residents watched helplessly as fire turned their homes into ashes. There was little they could do.
I can't think right now. I'd like to see them put some water on this house and maybe save something. That's all I'd like to see. It's devastating to lose after you work so hard, you know. You work hard to acquire things, and there we go.
A few residents braved the intense heat and dense smoke to do what little they could to protect their homes. But for most, it was sheer terror, not knowing if possessions, pets, even family members were safe.
Your wife is blind? Yes, I have 2 kids, 4 and 2 years old. The address is 4659 Don Miguel.
Firefighters threw everything they had into the fight. They focused their efforts on homes that hadn't yet burned. But again, the speed with which this fire spread through the neighborhood caught firefighters off guard. And as one put it, this is when you feel most helpless. Damage estimates are running into the millions. For residents, no dollar amount can replace their losses. Now, of course, residents are devastated by this fire. Now, my colleague Angela Estelle is at the neighborhood where all this has taken place. Let's go now to her live. Angela?
Thank you, Mark. I'm standing on Don Jose, which is in the heart of the burnt-out area here in the Baldwin Hills. And as you can see over my shoulder, there's still some smoke coming from one of the houses. It's really very eerie here tonight. It's like a war zone. It's desolate. It's burnt out. The electricity is gone. The phone lines are out, and the gas company has turned off the gas. Many of the residents have left the area. They had nowhere to go. It's really quite a shock here in this area. The police are here. 130 police officers were told. They're here for crowd control as well as looting. A little while ago, one of the residents took a look at the charred remains of her home.
This is what's left of it. What's left of 26 years of hard labor. 26 years. Been right here. Loved every moment of it. We were out of town. My other son and I went out to take care of some business. Came back and we saw the fire. We said, that couldn't be us. And when they said it was us, I went into a tizzy. I really did. I cried, but then it's material things, so we'll have to go along with that.
Earlier today, Mayor Tom Bradley toured the burned-out area.
I have just instructed the fire department officials to prepare the documentation that will permit us to submit a request for a declaration of emergency. That will go to the governor and then be transmitted to Washington.
And Mayor Bradley did sign those papers tonight, so the next step is for Governor Duke Magian to sign them. There are still some fires going on here. As I said, it's smoldering. The fire department's here. They're trying to put out the hot spots. 2 arson teams, one federal and one local, are on the scene. There will be some time. They're sifting through the rubble to try to determine if this was an arson fire, but it will be some time before they're able to determine that. One other note, La Brea has been shut off between Coliseum and Stocker. Of course, the police are asking that you don't try to drive in the area, and that area should be open. Those streets should be open by tomorrow. And many of the people in the area have gone to a Red Cross shelter that has been set up for them. And for more information on that, we go to Channel 9 reporter Jim Murphy.
Angela, we are here. We are here at Dorsey High School, which is now the only evacuation center. There were 2 evacuation centers. They closed one earlier, and this is the only one. Thus far, of course, there are more than 100 people who have been displaced by this fire, and thus far, there's only about 24 who have registered here. Many of the people, of course, have found homes for the night with friends or relatives. But here at the Red Cross Center, of course, they set up back there and serve dinner, meager dinner, McDonald's dinner, and they have cots set up on the other side of the room, and most of the people you see around here are people who are either coming for information about their friends or loved ones who they know have been displaced, or people who've come to volunteer their services. A little while ago, a woman came in with an enormous bag, and she said, "Here's some clothes for children. I know you'll need them." There are some victims here. For instance, right here is a gentleman, Clarence Williams. Mr. Williams, now I understand your problem right now is you need some medication that you don't have.
No, that's right. They checked my blood pressure a while ago, and they said as far as that's concerned, it was okay.
Where were you during the fire?
We left home and went out to Compton, to my wife's sister's house.
I mean, when it started?
You don't know when it started. We were in the house asleep.
You were asleep?
Yeah. And the fire engine just woke us up, passing the house, going down there, all that noise. And I looked up and said, "What's all these fire and these ambulance going by here?" Still, I didn't look out to see what was happening.
Now, I understand you don't think your apartment was destroyed.
I don't really think so, because I think when we got back, started to get home. We got there on the corner, Stockton and La Brea. We could see crossover there. We could see the top of the apartment.
And you're here now because you can't get back into the area?
Right. That's why we're here.
Well, good luck. I hope you can get back in tomorrow. Apparently, these people will be allowed back into their homes tomorrow, or in to look at the area tomorrow. Of course, many of them will have no home. I'm looking now for a woman who is here with 6 kids. She was telling me that she had just taken her 4 kids and 2 neighbor kids to the library when the fire broke out. When she got back, she said she looked up the hill where her house used to be, and it's not there. I asked one of the little girls how she felt about the fire. She said, "I really hope my Cabbage Patch Kid came through." So the situation here is everything from Cabbage Patch Kids to homes seems to have been taken away from these people. And the question is, how do they start over? What do they do after tonight, trying to rebuild their lives after this fire has taken all their physical possessions from them? At Dorsey High School, at the evacuation center, I'm Jim Murphy. Now back to Tom and Wendy.
Okay, thank you very much. Our thanks to Jim Murphy, Angela Estelle, and Mark Trank. They have been on that scene all afternoon. Really excellent reports. One thing out of all of this, I think the mayor said it earlier today, as well as the fire chief, that it was the grass spread the fire so quickly it just went up like matchsticks. And they said this should be a warning to other people who live in grassy areas to get that grass mowed down and to put in fireproofing kinds of shrubs around your home.
We'll have more on that subject later in the news. Up next, we'll have the latest on the other brush fires burning around the state.
And a plane crash in Orange County kills 2 people touching off a 300-acre brush fire there. The story and more after this.
And what a deal I got. Colt, imported for Dodge and Plymouth, built by Mitsubishi in Japan.
Let's take a spin.
First, take your shoes off.
So, isn't this car called something Japanese?
Colt.
It's all the Japanese you need to know.
Journey to the limitless boundaries of the imagination. The 4th of July Twilight Zone Marathon. Thursday morning at 8 on Channel 5, KTLA, Los Angeles.
Tonight on News at 10, a devastating fire sweeps through the Baldwin Hills area of Los Angeles. 100 homes destroyed or damaged. Mayor Bradley tours the stricken area, declares a state of emergency. Thousands of acres burning out of control in Ojai, northwest of Los Angeles. The heat wave continues in Southern California. There's some relief for the animals at the zoo. And this is homecoming day for the American hostages.
There's only one thing to say, and I say it from the bottom of my heart and in the name of all the people of our country. Welcome home.
Channel 5 News at 10. The #1 primetime news hour in Los Angeles. Now, Emmy Award-winning Hal Fishman.
Debbie Davison, Larry McCormick, Steve Roll with sports, and the entire Channel 5 news team.
Good evening. A major fire disaster in Baldwin Hills has left 2 people dead and hundreds more homeless tonight. KTLA News was first on the scene today with Stan Chambers, the first reporter to broadcast live coverage from the disaster area. We now go live to Stan once again with a late update on this tragic story. Stan?
Hal, officials are saying that it is an arson fire now, that it was deliberately set. And because 2 people died in this fire, homicide detectives have been on the scene all day long. Anyone arrested in connection with this could be charged with murder. We're here on Don Carlos. It was here that 27 homes were completely consumed by fire. As many as 100 homes have been damaged or destroyed. It was a firestorm. It roared up the hill, hit these homes with such fury and such heat and such strength, it created its own firestorm. T.U. Leak was over the flames in Jetcopter 5. Here's her report.
From the air, tragedy could be seen in the intense flames that leaped at homes, devouring them, causing death and injury, and turning memories into rubble. In a flash, the hillside of the affluent neighborhood was blackened, in sharp contrast to the lush greenery and homes standing proud on the west side of La Brea near Coliseum.
We're in Jetcopter 5, flying over the Baldwin Hills area. Thick black smoke can be seen for miles around. It's a devastating sight on the ground.
Winds helped the fire to easily jump from one roof to another. Helicopters made several water drops to assist firefighters on the ground. Firefighting equipment and trucks and emergency vehicles could be seen everywhere, as well as people caught up fighting an inferno. Traffic in the immediate area was blocked off. La Brea, usually busy at this afternoon hour, was quiet, except for the roar of raging fire. It's a frightening scene being repeated throughout the Southland today.
For the families who are without homes tonight, July 2nd is already a nightmare. But the fire season has just begun and conditions are ripe for another one. For more on the story from the ground, we go now to Stan Chambers.
The flames roared up from La Brea and hit all of the homes on the ridges. It hit them very quickly, very fast, and so many of them were consumed just immediately. Right here on Don Carlos is where most of the damage was done. The homes were just completely battered by the flames. And as I mentioned earlier, it actually created its own firestorm. Homes on both sides of Don Carlos were completely, totally destroyed. Amazingly enough, just 1 or 2 were left standing on this western side of Don Carlos. Copter shots were being dropped all during the day. The copters are trying to get a handle on the big blaze, but the blaze just kept coming, it kept rolling. It took 50 engine companies 3 hours before there finally was a knockdown. 350 people had to be evacuated from this area, and people took their dogs, their possessions, and they had to get out so fast. I think that was the real tragedy here. The fire hit so fast there was little a person can do. Some tried to protect their own homes. Some were on roofs, and they tried to stand, but the intensity of the heat here on Don Carlos was just too much. A total of 52 homes were definitely totally destroyed, and as many as 100 destroyed. During the height of the fire, we had a chance to talk to some of the victims.
So I seen a couple other guys up on the roof, man here behind me, and I got up on the roof and we started putting out one fire and it jumped to another roof. So we got that one out, and we just, I started working up the street, and there was really no houses contained on the fire. So when I started heading down the street further, I seen the 2 bodies out in the street.
We did as much as we could, but back in this area, it's really bad. They're restricting us from helping because it's too dangerous. I just got through seeing a guy fall through a roof, one of the firemen's, and I don't want to be on another roof where something like that might happen to me. Yeah.
Al, a fire watch is in effect right now here at the fire scene. City firemen will be here a good part of the night. They're now going to start looking through the rubble. There still are a few people have not been accounted for, and they're going to take a look. But right here you can see all that's left of this house, a chimney tall against the dark sky in the back. And so from the Baldwin Hills, this terrible fire today, we'll stand by here for any further developments. But right now, let's go back to Hal.
Okay, Stan, thank you. And we'll get back to Stan Chambers should there be any developments in the Baldwin Hills area. Earlier this evening, Mayor Bradley toured Baldwin Hills. He declared a state of emergency as damage estimates exceeded more than $8 million. Steve Lenz was with the mayor and has this report.
As City Fire Department water-dropping helicopters landed in a park at Don Lorenzo Drive in La Brea to fill up for another pass at the fire, Los Angeles Mayor Tom Bradley arrived for a tour of the devastated area. The mayor walked along Don Carlos Drive, a grim expression on his face because several personal friends lost their homes in this tragedy. The mayor stopped at one of those homes to talk about the enormity of the disaster.
Utter destruction. I can't imagine anything worse. If there'd been a bomb dropped on this place, it wouldn't have looked any worse. This is burned to the ground. Nothing left. This is a friend of mine that I was at a party with last Saturday night. All along this street, personal friends.
Los Angeles Fire Chief Donald Manning briefed the mayor, telling him arson is the cause of the fire. Manning told me low water pressure hampered some firefighters' efforts, but there was nothing more firemen could do because, according to Manning, 7 to 10 homes exploded in flames before engines arrived.
But there are areas where, like in this one, that if we had literally been sitting on top of the hill, the houses would still have caught fire. When I walked down the one street down there, I couldn't walk down it. The heat was so heavy, and the fires were basically out. It was just a radiated heat. You could not walk down the street. You take that kind of exposure, and that's why that fire jumps right across the street, and you instantly have additional houses on fire.
Mayor Bradley said this fire serves as an ominous warning of what Los Angeles residents may expect this summer.
I'm stunned by this fire. I know this area well. You simply would not expect that this kind of fire would sweep through Baldwin Hills like this. But the key to the whole thing is that brush that runs up the hill. It was set afire, swept up the hill so fast that no one could have any warning. Every home along that perimeter was engulfed with flame within seconds, and even some of the houses to the east also were caught up in it.
This fire was deliberately set in several places along La Brea. And although the brush here was over 6 feet high, Chief Manning says that in itself is not a violation. However, it's up to the individual property owner to keep the brush cut down. Chief Manning says he's going to find out who owns that property, and he's also going to find out who owns this property across the street. He wants to know whether or not an oil company should be keeping this brush cut. On La Brea, Steve Lynch, Channel 5 News at 10.
About 24 residents are spending the night at a Red Cross evacuation center. It's being set up at Dorsey High School. Others have found shelter at hotels or with relatives and friends. Mike Botula reports on the fire's impact upon families who could do little but watch as their homes and their belongings went up in flames. It all happened so quickly. The people saw the smoke, and then their neighborhood was in flames. Neighbors pitched in to try to save their homes. Even police officers grabbed hoses, but the fire was just too much for them. 2 people on Don Carlo were dead in the street. Hours later, arson investigators would find an incendiary device and officially term the tragedy a murder. They just couldn't get over how fast the fire moved. At one second, they were trying to gather up their possessions and flee for their lives. And in the next moment, they were looking back over their shoulders at their burned-out homes, wondering what would happen next.
It really happened so fast, and then it's really, I'm glad I'm okay. I'm glad I'm all right, and, that we were able to get out in time, but the way it happened is unreal.
Pretty well totally destroyed?
Totally. And my dog got killed. I couldn't get him out. The lady next door was burned severely.
What are you going to do now?
I don't know. I don't know.
While some survivors stared at the wreckage of their homes, others headed to the evacuation centers. Arrivals at Windsor Elementary School were quickly directed to Dorsey High. Many of them had gotten separated from friends and relatives and came to the shelter trying to find them.
I was trying to get over to Windsor, and they stopped me and said, well, they'll take them over to Dorsey. I get to Dorsey, and they say, well, no, we haven't heard anything yet about them bringing the people from Windsor over here. So now we don't know whether they're on the way over here or where, so we just at a standstill.
I'm worried. I don't know what's going on.
There are a lot of things that have to be done to meet the needs of the victims of this disaster. The easy part really is finding food and shelter for them. The tough part are answering the questions that deal with the whereabouts of missing relatives and the conditions of homes in the fire area. At Dorsey High School, Mike Botula, Channel 5 News at 10. Now, to reiterate, 2 people were killed, many who've lost their homes, at least 10 others were injured in today's disastrous blaze. 8 people were taken to Brotman Medical Center suffering from smoke inhalation. including a firefighter and 2 policemen who were helping in the evacuation. 4 of the smoke inhalation victims were also burned, one of them seriously. A doctor from the Michael Jackson Burn Center described what happened to one of the victims.
She said that the flames leapt up and in a crown around her, caught her hair on fire and the clothes she was wearing, at which time she ran a short distance into her house where her husband was. Apparently the house was on fire at the same time. She ran into the house. They both ran out into the yard in the front to save themselves.
Spokesmen at Daniel Freeman Hospital say 2 people were treated for smoke inhalation at their facility, and they have since been released. And a reminder, we will keep you informed on this Baldwin Hills fire tragedy should there be any further developments during this news hour. Now, there have been other fires throughout the Southland. Debbie has that story. Debbie?
Indeed, Hal, fierce brush fires in Ojai forced the evacuation of at least 1,000 people, including 600 youngsters. Okay, 600 youngsters at a summer camp. That blaze has devoured more than 6,000 acres since it erupted yesterday in Ventura County. Now, Sam Chulin reports from the fire lines.
In almost every direction you turn, it looks like a fire is burning here in the Ojai area. The skies are filled with smoke. The sun is an awesome sight. The blaze has already blackened thousands of acres, destroyed at least 3 homes. More are in danger. Flare-ups and flying embers are keeping firefighters and worried homeowners busy.
If the fire comes up the canyon, it's going to take the house. So what we're trying to do now is just contain it, and hopefully the choppers come in here and put the fire out for us.
We have things packed in the cars, and that's why my daughters are here, and my son-in-law, and my grandson, my husband, and we're ready to go whenever they tell us.
During the daylight hours, helicopters and other aircraft are making water and fire retardant drops on hot spots. The winds are fanning the flames, and the fire is skipping across the steep terrain. Firefighters from Arizona, Colorado, and around the state are manning the fire lines. They say this is a tough one.
Sports tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather. This is CBS.
Our top story for this Monday night, it took just a very few minutes to end lives and ruin dreams. We have a series of live reports from the Baldwin Hills fire zone. We'll talk to some of the survivors and some of the victims who lost everything.
Also just ahead tonight, unfortunately, Baldwin Hills isn't the only fatal Southland fire to report on this evening. We'll have the latest on all of the other major fires raging out of control. We'll also take you live to the homecoming of one American hostage, and you'll hear what some other former prisoners say about their abductors now that their lives are no longer threatened. I'm John Schubeck.
I'm Tricia Toyota. The expanded edition of the Channel 2 News is next.
It's fun getting to the bottom of one. It's fun getting to the bottom of one. White Mountain cooler. Keeping it light. Cooler. Crisp and refreshing. It's got the taste that's always right. It's fun getting to the bottom of one. It's fun getting to the bottom of one.
Honey.
Uh-huh.
Why do you keep Oscar?
We grew up together.
But he's so old.
There are some things you just don't give up.
Like your Johnson's baby powder?
Yeah, like my Johnson's baby powder. It's the softest there is. Don't you like how it makes my skin feel so smooth and soft?
Uh-huh.
Well, you wouldn't want to give that up.
Never.
Well, I'm not giving up Oscar.
Well, I guess there's some things you never outgrow.
The soft feeling of Johnson's baby powder. A feeling you never outgrow.
What front-wheel drive luxury cars have been almost impossible to get?
It's not what you think it is.
What elegant 6-passenger high-performance car has just arrived in California by the thousands?
It's not what you think it is.
It's Buick Electra.
Get excited. It's electrifying days at your Southern California Buick dealers. Electrifying Park Avenues, T-types, 2-doors, 4-doors. Electrifying deals on already value-packed sticker prices. It's electrifying days.
So take another look at Buick. There are big savings for you.
Lights and lasers tomorrow at 7:30.
This is Channel 2 News.
Angeles, this is Channel 2 News Tonight.
We're going to say more and more prayers and say thank you for what we do have. We're very fortunate, but we've lost a lot.
An entire neighborhood wiped out in just a few hours. The belongings and memories of scores of residents are now ashes, and 2 people died in the inferno. Tonight, officials say it's all the work of an arsonist. Good evening, everybody. It's being called now a state of emergency. It is one of the most tragic fires in LA's history. A ferocious fire fed by high winds and record-high temperatures that destroyed part of Baldwin Hills in a matter of minutes. Channel 2's Steve Kometko is live in the rubble that this morning was a prosperous community. Steve?
John, you're looking at what's left of a car parked inside what's left of a garage next to what's left of a home. It's been an absolutely nightmarish day in Baldwin Park. A whole new shift of firefighters has just arrived on the scene, relieving the firefighters who are here fighting that ferocious blaze that you described since earlier this afternoon. Basically, for the most part, the fire is out, although there are occasional hot spots, and the firefighters who've just arrived will be here throughout the night, putting out those hot spots. Occasionally, you can see a puff of smoke drifting up behind me in this residential area that tonight resembles a war zone. Tonight, not much is left of this Baldwin Hills neighborhood. Leveled by fire, all that remains are ashes, charred frames, and foundations. From Chopper 2, you can better see how devastating the fires were, wiping out entire blocks of homes in a very short period of time. Earlier, Mayor Tom Bradley toured the area, surveying the damage, then declaring a state of emergency.
It's absolutely devastating. It's shocking. Over 40 homes have already been destroyed, and it's apparent that an arsonist driving along La Brea set fires at several locations.
2 people died as a result of the fire. Their bodies were found lying in the street, overcome by the smoke and intense heat. 7 people were injured, 3 residents, 2 firefighters, 2 police officers. In all, 52 homes were destroyed, and approximately 100 others were damaged. $15 million worth of damage was done. And tonight, authorities believe the fire was set intentionally.
We're not sure exactly what type of device or instrument or accelerant was used. That information I'm just getting in bits and pieces right now, and nothing has been confirmed on just exactly what was used.
It took 250 firefighters and several helicopters more than 3 hours to contain the blaze, even longer to control it. And they say the reason it was so tough to fight, to extinguish, is because so many homes in the area have shingle roofs, wooden roofs, and sparks were carried by the wind from one home to the next. First thing tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock, Governor Duke Majan will be coming to this Baldwin Hills area. He will be doing the same thing tomorrow that that Mayor Bradley did today, touring the area, and it is expected he too, like Mayor Bradley, will declare a state of emergency that will make the area and the residents eligible for emergency funds. We mentioned the possibility of arson. Arson investigators and LAPD homicide investigators continue their investigation. No suspects have been arrested yet. I'm Steve Kometko reporting live in Baldwin Hills. 350 people were evacuated from this area. Many are homeless tonight. Many of them stayed as long as they could, trying to fight off the blaze and save their homes. For their story, we go now to my colleague who is standing by live, Ann Curry. Ann?
For though this fire burned less than 4 hours, it destroyed what took many lifetimes to build.
Come on, we'll take you back to the car. Okay?
The fire moved too fast to say what mattered most. For the woman who lived here, what mattered most were insurance policies, but there was no time to find them, no time even to get into the car. One fireman admitted the flames did not give them time to warn everyone. Tonight, survivors wanting to see what was ruined learned it was too dangerous to go back in.
I can show you where I live.
Well, I understand that, okay? But right now, we do not have the personnel to take each and every homeowner to their home and allow them to go through the belongings, okay? That's why we're keeping it closed until in the morning, and then, we'll go from there.
Why didn't they tell us this down there where we wouldn't have had to walk a mile or 2?
This trembling survivor was found wandering the streets. His rescuer thinks he's not been hurt.
Well, he's not burned. It seems like he has eye irritations from the smoke or whatever, But like I said, we're going to take you to the shelter. Maybe the owners will come and look for it. It'll be there.
Tonight, Jackie Ramos is searching for hope after losing most of her home and what was in it.
Is there anything specifically that you're going to lose or feel a great loss about for having lost?
Yes. Pictures. My daughter's Michael Jackson tapes. Just things that you can't replace with money. Family pictures, mainly. But we're happy we're safe, and that's the greatest thing. And I'm going to say more and more prayers and say thank you for what we do have. We're very fortunate.
As Steve just reported, Mayor Tom Bradley has declared a state of emergency. Now, that paves the way for federal funding. And though that federal funding is not guaranteed, Mayor Bradley believes it is probable. I'm Ann Kerr reporting live from the scene. Now back to you in the newsroom, Tricia.
All right, thank you very much, Ann. And as you heard Steve Kometko say, dozens of people were evacuated from their homes this afternoon. Some of those people went to evacuation centers in the Baldwin Hills area, and Tony Cox is standing by at one of those centers with survivors. Tony.
Trish, we're in the boys' gym at Dorsey High School, just north of the Baldwin Hills area. Red Cross volunteers doing what they do very well, in fact, assisting those victims, assisting people who have come here all day long for the last 5 or 6 hours or so, trying to find their loved ones and their relatives. In fact, we have a phone number to give you and an address to give you in case you are trying to locate some people, but we'll be giving you those at the end of the report with the numbers and addresses. Okay, I see that those numbers are on right now. Let me give them to you now instead. Area code 213-739-5200. Again, area code 213-739-5200, a number that you can call to find out any information about people who may be missing, who were believed to be in the area of the fire earlier today. In addition to that, you can write to the Red Cross at 2700 Wilshire. That's in Los Angeles, the zip code 90057. That address in part set up for the Baldwin Hills Fire Victim Fund. And another way by which the Red Cross is trying to assist the people who have been hurt. Now to the details of what's going on right here, right now. 24 people have been identified as fire victims who have come to the shelter so far, although at dinner time they fed about 100 people, and that included the many volunteers who have come by and friends trying to help the victims. In addition to that, they say tomorrow morning, about 8 o'clock or so, they expect to feed another 200 people. As you can imagine, it's been quite an afternoon here at the boys' gymnasium at Dorsey High School, with people coming in, sometimes crying, trying to find out information about relatives, with people from the Red Cross trying to assist them. And also, we got an opportunity to meet some people who were the victims themselves. In fact, one man who's very lucky to be alive and lucky to be able to even talk about it. Abby Lou Ward lived through the fiery afternoon. He felt the heat, but never saw the flames because he is blind. In fact, the blind 82-year-old man was home alone on Don Carlos when he smelled smoke.
Would you like some more?
When I know anything, the back of the house was full of smoke, and I was there alone, and I said, well, that sounds like a wind. I'm blowing trash, and I went to the front, and I didn't hear it there. When I started back in, then the heat from the back hit me in the face. Well, all I could do was get out of there.
Yeah, I know.
In the Lord's blessing.
Yeah, he sure did. I was with one. I said, what if Lou is upstairs in bed?
Sleep.
Don't know what's going on, and Mary's not at home, and I'm not at home.
Well, how did you get out? Who helped you out?
Well, I got out. See, I walks all the time up there myself, you know, and I kind of know what I was doing when I got on the road. And I was going down the road, and 2 girls come looking for me. Say, we looking for you, mister. I said, yeah, I am. And we're all locked up and run on up the road. I don't know who the girls were, but I sure appreciate that.
Ward, his wife, and a friend all lived together in Baldwin Hills, but no more. Their house is gone. What are you going to do now?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, that's a $100 question, but I'm going to do something.
Their reunion was what others here had hoped for, but they waited and waited without word from their relatives. The Russell family did get together finally, but 16 years of life on Don Carlos had gone up in smoke.
I have on my neighbor's shoes, one of my friends on Don Felipe. All I have is what I have on. I was barefooted until an hour ago. And my car keys.
The Red Cross told the victims here they would be cared for with food and shelter. Some concerned citizens, even from the fire area, came to offer help in addition. Some brought clothing, some an offer of housing.
Well, we have about 30 units that we've been fortunate enough to purchase and As a matter of fact, they're in escrow right now, and we're ready to give them up for folks who need some housing right now.
Yeah, some very scared people again.
Oh, we all were, but God's been good to us.
A number of people here had that very same sentiment today, and in fact, one person said to me, why don't you tell the people that the reason this shelter is not full is because so many volunteers and friends have come by to give a helping hand. Again, let me give you a number and an address in case you want to try to find out information about someone who may yet be missing, or if you indeed want to make some kind of a donation. The phone number is area code 213-739-5200. That's 213-739-5200, a Red Cross number, and the address for the Baldwin Hills Fire Victims Fund, 2700 Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles, the zip code 90057. As I've said, quite an ordeal here today at the gymnasium of Dorsey High School, where some of the victims will be spending the night. However, the victims who did come here were those who were not injured. Some of those people were, some of the other people, I should say, were in fact seriously injured and had to go to the hospital. For that part of the story, let's go now to David Garcia at Brotman Memorial in Culver City. David.
Here at the Michael Jackson Burn Center, part of the Brotman Medical Center, the scramble to treat burn victims has stabilized for the night. A total of 3 burn victims have been admitted to this hospital. Roughly half a dozen others have been treated and released. And doctors here are frankly admitting they're amazed it wasn't worse. For Bernetta Van Dyke, tonight brought a happy but tearful reunion with her family. She suffered smoke inhalation. Her house burned to the ground. She didn't want to talk about it. Her brother, Cecil Coleman, spoke for her.
Her whole block burned up, everything. So she describes it that she'd hate to see a nuclear war, because that's what it was like.
Through the evening, only one additional victim from the fire arrived at the burn center. Others were treated and released. One, a policeman. Another, a fireman, Derek Parker, who suffered minor burns.
It's difficult and it's tough because you have to go out there and there's many homes burned at one time, and you only have so much manpower to move around, so you can only pick the ones you want to save.
Late tonight, Dr. Lance Owens had this medical update on the patients admitted.
We have a 64-year-old female and her husband, a 77-year-old male, who were both admitted. The female was in critical condition with second and third degree burns to over 50% of her body. And also smoke inhalation. Her husband is in stable condition. He suffered first and second degree burns, and he should recover without difficulty from those. We also had a 69-year-old female who came in with first and second degree burns and smoke inhalation. It's amazing that fewer people haven't come in with a fire of this size, and the gravity involved. I think it's really amazing that the LA Fire Department, Police Department have been able to rescue as many people and actually keep this from being a major disaster in human terms.
It truly is amazing considering the number of homes destroyed and damaged. At this point, only one other hospital in Los Angeles has treated burn victims, that one Daniel Friedman Hospital, where 2 people were treated for smoke inhalation. I'm David Garcia at the Brotman Medical Center, and now back to the newsroom.
All right, thank you very much, David. So to recap, this is what we know about that disastrous fire in the Baldwin Hills area. At least 2 people have been killed, but as firefighters sift through the remains, more bodies may be found. Several people are still reported to be missing. More than 50 homes have been burned to the ground, and at least 100 others are damaged. $15 million of property has been destroyed. The people who do not have homes tonight, some of them staying with friends and relatives, others staying at 3 evacuation centers set up at nearby schools. Investigators say that the firestorm was intentionally set. Tonight they are searching through the debris for clues about who the arsonist might be.
And there's much more news still ahead on our program tonight. Extended 15 minutes because of the additional material we have this evening. We'll have the latest on the other fires raging throughout the Southland. There are deaths and injuries to report there. We'll also tell you how to protect your home and your life from the flames.
Cotton sheets and towels, they're a natural part of your life. They feel soft and good to your skin, incomparably cozy and gentle. Cool and comfortable to your touch. Once you get a feel for cotton, you won't feel like anything else. Look for the True Performance label on Royal Velvet All Cotton Easy Care sheets and towels from Fieldcrest, available at the Broadway.
When I was younger, it was disco nights and dating games. Slowly, my taste changed. Even in wines, I tasted Valbon with a new friend. Valbon, I outgrew inexpensive jugs and bubbly Italians. Valbon's perfect for me every day, with food, with friends. Subtle, drier. Now I play grown-up games. My wine is French. Valbon from Bouchard, Père et Fils. You live and learn.
Fletch, Chevy Chase's funniest movie. Richard Schickel, Time Magazine. Chevy Chase has never been funnier. Joel Siegel, Good Morning America, ABC TV. Enjoyable, a breezy experience. Vincent Canby, New York Times. More than funny, it's funny and exciting. Gene Siskel, Chicago Tribune. Fletch.
My hero.
Nothing to it. Rated PG, now at select theaters. Check newspapers for locations and showtimes.
Whatever kind of car you drive, you want all the performance it has to offer. Fill it with Shell SU2000 Super Unleaded. SU2000 is a patented high-octane performance gasoline designed for smooth, quiet power. And it fights critical engine deposits that can cause knock. Turn your car into an SU2000 performer. Get Shell SU2000 Super Unleaded Gasoline.
This afternoon's tragedy in Baldwin Hills is unfortunately just the biggest patch in a quilt of destruction that blankets Southern California tonight. And even before dawn, fire officials knew that this would be a very rough day. But it would have been hard to imagine how widespread the fires would be. These are just some of the areas that were hit. Camp Pendleton, where a fire is still raging out of control. More than 5,000 acres have been burned. The good news is that no homes are threatened here. But another brush fire has been racing through a populated area north of Escondido. Homes along Sleepy Hollow Road have been evacuated, and some of the buildings may already have been destroyed. That fire is still out of control. In Orange County, near Yorba Linda, a small brush fire was touched off by a deadly plane crash. The plane slammed into a truck on Highway 91, killing both people on board. The plane had been towing a banner that got caught in some power lines just before the crash. The truck driver was shaken up, but he escaped without injury.
All you see was a plane coming at you and you're gone. Nothing but a plane and fire, and I was out of that truck.
The longest lasting blaze will probably be the one in Cabazon, one of several in Riverside County that have consumed more than 20,000 acres. Firefighters are contending with high temperatures around 120 degrees. The Cabazon fire may not be fully contained until next Sunday. The most frightening of these fires, other than Baldwin Hills, is still burning near Ojai. Channel 2's Jim Mitchell was there all day, hearing one story after another about the terror of last night.
Through most of the day, a wall of flames and a huge cloud of smoke continued to boil out of Matilahaw Canyon, just north of Ojai. More than 6,000 acres burned over, 3 homes lost, and other homeowners with horror stories about how close the flames had come.
It was awesome to see the entire mountainside behind us in a blaze. The flames must have been 100, 150 feet high, and the wind that hit us was like a hurricane-type wind.
And 800 kids evacuated from a nearby summer campground will have stories they'll be able to tell their children.
How did you get out? How did they bring you down here?
They have the baseball field, because that's their evacuation procedure. And these buses came down and we left down here.
How close did it seem to you?
Seems only a few minutes away. Yeah.
Scared?
Yeah.
Well, bet.
Firemen continued to protect the houses, but a lot of the roadside fires burning near Ojai were allowed to burn virtually unchecked, as we discovered.
Right up there.
And by evening, many of the 1,500 firemen fighting this
emergency tonight in Baldwin Hills, where a raging brush fire destroys a neighborhood, leaving hundreds homeless. Tonight, they are trying to put the pieces together, looking for family members lost in the confusion.
In Ojai tonight, tired firefighters still battling the brush fire that's threatening homes there and prompting the evacuation of 2 more communities. Also tonight...
Eyewitness News, the latest update from the Southland's #1 news team. This is Channel 7, the #1 station for news and information in Southern California. And now, the latest breaking Eyewitness News with Paul Moyer, Terry Murphy, Dr. George Fishbeck with weather, Ted Dawson with sports, and the Eyewitness News team.
It looks like a war zone. Good evening, everybody. It's now 11 o'clock. An entire neighborhood in Baldwin Hills has been destroyed by one of the worst fires in local history. The numbers devastating. 2 people dead, 57 homes destroyed, with damage climbing past the $16 million mark. This did not have to happen because this firestorm is now being called the work of an arsonist. Tonight, the mayor, Tom Bradley, has officially declared Baldwin Hills a disaster area. Channel 7's Harold Green at the Hilltop neighborhood that is now a smoldering ruin. He is standing by tonight with this live update. Harold?
Paul and Terry, the fire crews, continue to work tonight, trying to put out the hot spots so that as the winds kick up throughout the evening, they don't carry these burning embers out of this area and perhaps start it all over again. As you said, it has been quite a day here. It all began this afternoon with a phone call. Someone said there was a brush fire. Moments later, a second call. This one said homes are now beginning to burn in the Baldwin Hills area. The fire swept up a grassy hill, came in east, and then roared into the neighborhood. It was just after 3:30, and at that time, it was 102 degrees, and the winds were blowing the flames and embers in all directions. Residents along Don Diego, Don Carlos, and the other streets that make up this picturesque upper-middle-class neighborhood hardly had enough time to get out safely. 2 people didn't. They were pulled from a burning home on Don Carlos, but they were dead. Firefighters were on the scene in force, but at the outset, they fought a losing battle. The shake roofs exploding with fire before they could get enough water on them to put them out. Water-dropping helicopters made repeated passes, but it was an uphill battle. Congested streets also presented major headaches. While some homes burned furiously today, I watched as others with gravel rooftops were spared. Some residents stayed behind using their garden hoses, often to no avail. Despite the often heroic efforts of Los Angeles firefighters, like the men from Units 82 and 89 who fought the flames to a standstill in the Don Miguel cul-de-sac, some residents complained that the response time was just too slow. Tyrone Tyler told that to Larry
Really
Gill.
in danger. Then before I knew it, the water hoses just wasn't enough. It was about 3:30, 3:35 when the fire engines got on our street.
So it was almost an hour before the fire trucks got to you?
5 minutes. Good 45 minutes before they even got up there.
They responded to this fire before they were ever dispatched by our dispatch center. So they were here in probably just a matter of 3 minutes. Additional companies were immediately called for. We had immediate air support with the helicopter unit. This was a case where the fire had a head start on us, and the wood shake shingle roofs did not help us in the least. There is still great concern tonight that as the firefighters go from home to home, putting out these hot spots and begin probing through the rubble, that the fatality rate will continue to rise. As we pointed out at the top of the broadcast, 2 people known dead thus far. Also, we've just learned that Governor George Deukmejian will be here tomorrow morning at 10:30, and at that time he will declare the Baldwin Hills fire area a state disaster area. That, of course, will allow the residents here to be entitled to some sort of low-funded, low-interest state loans to help rebuild this area. Once again, a tragic scene. Harold Green reporting live from Baldwin Hills. Back to you in Hollywood.
Thank you for that report, Harold. And as those pictures so graphically showed us, for those who lost everything, they are finding some comfort tonight in evacuation centers set up by the Red Cross. It's not much, sandwiches, drinks, and a cot to sleep on, but it is serving a much greater purpose. It's at Dorsey High School where relatives can try and locate their loved ones separated in this pandemonium today. Lonnie Lardner is standing by right now with this live report. Lonnie?
Terry, confusion and fatigue, that's what most of these 24 evacuated residents are experiencing tonight, and naturally so if you were to go through something like that. But some relatives say they are not finding their loved ones at all. They're worried about them, and they say they're getting no answers. But what is really impressive about this ordeal is the community spirit to rescue and shelter those who didn't have the wherewithal to do so themselves. Residents told us they tried to save as many neighbors as possible. And this took lots of quick thinking.
Home and called everybody that I knew. I guess they thought I was crazy because I got my girlfriend at work, and I said, look, get home. Just leave right now, you know. So she said, thank you, because it saved their house. And we have to stick together at a time like this.
7 people ended up being treated in the hospital. Those released said they were glad to be alive, but they'll never forget this trauma.
I came home from work. My house was on fire. As I got there, I tried to go in the front door, and the heat blasted out on me, and that's how I got a little burn.
Here at this evacuation center, residents and relatives say they are worried, but above all, tense. You worried that you lost something?
Yes.
What is that?
It's a cabbage patch.
I never really been in a situation. I've been living up here for 9 years, and I was pretty well stable. And I don't know where, I have relatives here in California, but I don't really depend on people that much.
Now, the good news is that a Baldwin Hills Fire Victims Fund has been set up for these people. And believe it or not, donations are already pouring in. And if you would like to contribute to help little people like Stormy and their family members, you can call the American Red Cross. This is Lonnie Lardner, live in Baldwin Hills. Back to you folks in the studio.
Thank you for that, Lonnie. The Baldwin Hills tragedy is not the only fire story tonight. The fire disaster in Ojai is becoming more intense as flames spread down hillsides leading to the city. As many as 9,000 acres scorched so far, and our Ron Olson has the report.
As the sun went down, the fire began creeping down the hillsides around the city. For Ojai residents, this was definitely much too close to home. As it is, a lot of worried folks.
Oh, yeah, sure. My gosh,
I believe there's a lot of worried folks.
Yeah.
We just been in Miners Oaks to help a girl evacuate on Arnez. The river bottoms just raging in that part of town, so that's what we're doing here.
At the fire camp, where the firefighting effort is being coordinated, the number of firefighters had been increased to nearly 2,000, with the addition of units coming in from the Cabazon fire, which is now under control. Still,
well, right now we don't have a lot of hope. The winds picked up again about an hour ago. We've got fire blowing down canyon again, as we had last night, threatening homes all along the Ojai frontage.
So, the question is, when will this fire be brought under control? The answer from the firefighters is, with the weather the way it is, we're doing the best we can. Ron Olson, Channel 7 Eyewitness News, Ojai.
#1 station for news and information in Southern California. And now the latest breaking eyewitness news with Jerry Dunphy, Christine Lund, Dallas Raines, Larry Carroll at the live action camera desk, and the Eyewitness News team.
Good afternoon. Here's the latest at 4. Several hundred Baldwin Hills residents today began returning to their neighborhood in the wake of yesterday's fire that destroyed 52 homes, damaged 13 others, and killed 2 people. As investigators, firefighters, and residents returned to the devastated area, Governor George Deukmejian declared a state of emergency in Los Angeles County. This will ease the way for federal disaster loans. Search teams today failed to find any additional bodies in the rubble, and the county coroner's office identified the 2 people who died in the fire as 77-year-old Mary Street and 55-year-old Robert Allen. Authorities say the fire was arson caused. We have a series of reports, beginning with Paul Dandridge, live from the Baldwin Hills. Paul.
Jerry, first of all, at the top of our report, the fire department is saying at this point that the arson fire, which we are in the middle of, and what we're talking about, of course, was set in 3 different places just down on La Brea, and, of course, came up this hill so quickly and so fast and destroyed 53 homes and another 13 damaged to the point where they cannot be lived in tonight. And as you pointed out this morning, people started coming here. They were not allowed to come back until about 10 o'clock last night, and for many of them, they were just too shook up emotionally to get up here. And you can see some of the devastation that took place yesterday. Those 2 people who died, their deaths are being treated, of course, as homicides because that's what it was. And there is a move now by a state senator to make deaths, homicides in this case, capital punishment. That started today. Senator Ed Davis is pushing for that. This is the scene today, this morning. You can see the devastation. It looks as if this neighborhood really is just a graveyard. You can see some chimneys, just about all that continue to exist in the houses. There's something like tombstones as people came back and really did not recognize their homes. A lot of emotion on the streets early this morning, about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. The firemen sifting through. This woman lived here for 13 years. And
I had just left before it started, and when I came back, I couldn't get in because it was all blocked off. They wouldn't let me go in. And I had animals, cats and dogs. I don't know what happened to them. Apparently the fire was so hot that, people were getting burned in the street just from the heat. Oh, God, what a horrible thing. Horrible. And to think that it was arson, that somebody did this.
And, of course, we're talking about a lot of love on the streets here. People have not given up. They are certainly going to rebuild. They are sticking together. A lot of joy here in some ways today.
A lot of love. I mean, every one of us. I mean, we just see each other's neighbors from the other streets bringing coffee and rolls over, and everybody offering their homes, and that didn't suffer, clothing that didn't suffer. I just met a friend.
Most of the people living on this block has been here for many, many years.
Our kids have grown up.
We ought to have just recently had
one on the way to the 11th grade.
I don't think anybody's going to be moving because of this, are they? They're all going to come back.
I think so. I think so.
There's certainly a lot of unanswered questions. Don't think for one moment that the people who have lost their homes are not confused and concerned and wonder why, of course, as you would and anyone would, why the fire department wasn't here sooner, why the water pressure wasn't stronger than it was. But major importance, of course, the fire department has said, and this is a lesson for all of us in this hot weather, the brush is at a point now that it was not at until 1970 was the last time. 60% of the brush in Southern California is dead. The weather is so hot that it is easy to start a fire, and of course that's exactly what happened yesterday, arson. And as we talk about the people who are okay, and you know, these people are very thankful. They've lost their homes, they've lost everything that they've had through all of their lives, but they're still okay. Two people who died were just up the street here. This area has been roped off just behind me. She is the mother of a firefighter. She is still missing. She is among number 3 or 5, depending on which count, and it varies still, even a day later now. But they've gone through the rubble. They haven't found her. They've gone through the rubble of all of this area. They have not found anyone, and that's very hopeful, but they're going to continue. Still people missing. Reporting live, Paul Dandridge, back to you.
Okay, Paul, thanks so much for that. Governor Deukmejian said today that it wasn't just the homes, but in so many cases, most of them undoubtedly, the dreams as well of so many family members that were destroyed in that Baldwin Hills fire yesterday. The governor toured the devastated area today along with several other state and local officials. Laura Diaz was there, and she has a live report for us right now. Let's go to her and learn what she has to say. Laura.
Christine, we are at the command post where officials are still trying to figure out who purposely set the Baldwin Hills fire. As you know, this is a fire that took the homes of 53 people, caused the deaths of 2 others, and injured other people. So it is a very, very devastating fire. As you mentioned, Governor Deukmejian toured the scene today. It was a terrible, terrible scene. And after he toured the scene, this is what it sounded like as he took the tour.
To see this kind of devastation and destruction is just very tragic, and we're very concerned, and we're very committed to do whatever we can to be of help.
For about 15 minutes, Governor Deukmejian and Mayor Bradley walked the neighborhood hit hard by that flash fire. They were surrounded by blackened structures that used to be exclusive homes. As they viewed the destruction, residents of the Baldwin Hills poured onto the streets. The pictures told a story of that powerful fire that caused great loss of property and human life. Now, after that tour, there was a news conference held. You're seeing pictures of that right now. The governor proclaimed a state of emergency for Los Angeles County. It opens the way for government assistance for victims.
One of the results of declaring in a state of emergency is that it sets in motion a request for some funding that would be made available. For some would be low-interest loan type funding, others would be some grants, but it brings into play all types of emergency services that the government is providing in situations of this nature.
We are told that assistance should become available to people right away. Hopefully the sooner the better. But the investigation going on right now is to try to figure out who purposely set those fires. As we know, the devastation was very great. Joining us live right now is Senator Davis. He is calling for a bill that would prosecute those who are involved in arson where deaths result. Senator, can you tell us about the bill?
Yes, in 1978, a bill was passed by the people, an initiative. It was a death penalty initiative. It contained in it there would be the death penalty for arson, but the wrong section number was used by Senator Briggs. And so my bill would plug back into the law, making it a death penalty to deliberately set an arson that results in the death of human beings. That bill is out of the California State Senate. It's over in the Assembly. It'll be heard on July 15th. I certainly hope this tragedy brings to the minds of the assemblymen that they should support this bill. I can tell you this, not specifically, but there's some very good leads on who started this fire.
Thank you very much, Senator. Thank you for joining us live. He will be heading over now to that area devastated by the fire to speak with reporters. That is the story here at the command post in Baldwin Hills. I'm Laura Diaz reporting live.
Okay, in an effort to find the arsonist suspected of getting that fire, that devastating fire going yesterday, today the Los Angeles City Council voted to offer a $25,000 reward for for information leading to the arrest of that person, possibly persons. Yesterday, victims of that tragic blaze were inconsolable, but some were already questioning the fire department's response time and the lack of water pressure during some of that fire. Today at City Hall, Fire Chief Don Manning had a chance to answer some criticism.
15, 20, 30, 40, 50 homes involved, you will overtax the system. The fire developed so fast that I'm convinced that if we had literally had units in the Baldwin Hills area as that fire swept up that hill, we would have still lost homes. All of the systems that we had put in place to recall fire inspectors, put them on fire companies, happened beautifully yesterday. We did it by radio. We had companies coming online within 10 minutes of that recall starting, and 10 additional engine companies on within 40 minutes by fire inspectors. The system worked yesterday.
Manning also praised the Los Angeles County Fire Department for its help and its cooperation. Their units were the first ones on the scene, and he also said neighborhood residents gave firefighters invaluable help in fighting that fire. Jerry.
Chris, the largest of the brush fires still burning in Southern California remains out of control right now in Ventura County. The fire has been raging for 3 days in the tinder-dry mountains and canyons of the Los Padres National Forest. So far, it's destroyed 11 structures, including 7 homes, along with blackening 27,000 acres of land. The flames are now burning perilously close to the nearby town of Ojai, where hundreds of residents have been evacuated from their homes. Right now, the main concern is the Wheeler Canyon area, where the wind-driven blaze is threatening several neighborhoods. An army of firefighters, more than 2,000 in all, are battling the inferno from both the air and the ground.
News. This is Channel 7, the #1 station for news and information in Southern California. Eyewitness News continues now with Paul Moyer and Martin Ted Dawson with sports, Dr. George Fishbeck with the weather, Larry Carroll at the live-action camera desk, and the Eyewitness News team.
Good evening, all. Here is the very latest tonight at 5 o'clock. Yesterday, we watched most of a neighborhood go up in flames, and today, the governor of California, George Deukmejian, declared a state of emergency in Los Angeles County. This after he toured the Baldwin Hills neighborhood, where fire destroyed 52 homes earlier yesterday. 2 people died in that fire as flames raced up a slope from La Brea Avenue. The coroner's office has identified them tonight as 77-year-old Mary Street and 55-year-old Robert Allen. Authorities telling us they were trapped in their house by burglar bars on the windows. Search parties today found no additional victims in the ruined homes. They were looking for those people. They didn't find them as residents returned to see what was left of their homes. Investigators saying tonight the fire definitely arson caused. It didn't have to be that way, but it was, and that incendiary devices have been found. We have a series of follow-up stories on that fire tonight, starting live with Paul Dandridge in Baldwin Hills. Paul?
Paul, we're standing right in front of the home of the 2 people who died, as you mentioned just a short time ago. There are reports that are unconfirmed by the fire department that they were trapped inside because of some sort of burglar bars that were on their home. That is not the case. In a short time, I see Fire Chief Manning coming up. We're going to talk to him directly about that. We had been here through the day in the morning seeing people returning to their homes for the first time and seeing their homes as they were devastated. We have some videotape. Let's roll that. Seeing what the devastation was that existed throughout this fire. First of all, we look at it yesterday, and the fire started, of course, because of arson. The fire department saying at this point that there were 3 devices at least set along La Brea and quickly spread up the hill and destroyed. At this point, we have the final figure, 53 homes completely destroyed, another 13 at least partially. This woman came back to her house, seeing it for the first time. She had lived there 13 years. There was a search through the rubble looking for bodies today. We talked to one of the firefighters about that. And, of course, you can see the emotion on the faces of people as they come back and see their homes for the first time. Here, there were about 5 people missing throughout the day. The numbers vary. And this was the search that went on. Fairly complete. Still people missing, though, at this point.
By street address and by the accounts of all the different people that live here as to whether anybody's missing, if they are, and then also to physically check the house.
We'll start it quickly from the top. As fast as this fire moved, the chances of people being trapped still exist.
Of course. And with that, the fire department and, of course, everybody else wants to make sure that we don't have any people in here that are unaccounted for. So one of the ways to do that, and the way we'll be doing it, is to go through each house physically pull up the floors and pull up all the walls that came down and look underneath and make sure we don't have anybody in there.
I was up last night, and they wouldn't let me come close enough to look.
Really nothing left, is there?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's down to the ground.
So were you here when it happened?
No, I was at work. So my wife called me.
But everybody's okay?
Yeah. Everyone's okay.
I guess you're thankful for that.
Yeah, it's just material. Yeah. As long as life is together, that's what counts.
Those are the sentiments pretty much of the people throughout the day. They're very lucky that they have their families, even though they have said it. They virtually lost everything. Fire Chief Donald Manning is with me at this point. I know you have the arson investigation at this point because you have a death, homicide, it's the police, but what can you tell us? You have some good leads.
Well, we can certainly tell you that the police are working hard on some leads. We can tell you that there were one or more devices used in setting the fire and that there were multiple starts. Beyond that, it is a police investigation, and we can't really say information.
Beyond this neighborhood, we talk about the fact that 60% of the brush in Los Angeles County, virtually Southern California, is dead. The worst in some 15 years?
Oh, at least. It's the worst that I know of in my 30 years with the department, and we're going into the worst season right now with the 4th of July week, with the high temperatures continuing, the dried brush, the dead live ratio.
We're speaking in front of the home where the two people lived who passed away yesterday, died. Any indications of the reports that they were trapped because of the burglar bars are true?
Well, I've certainly checked the building myself, and none of the bars were openable from the inside, which is the law requires off of bedrooms. However, I believe this was the front of the structure where the problem was, and those would not have been required to be openable in any way.
Chief, thank you very much.
You bet.
The fire department puts them in long hours, of course, throughout this. We also should mention that there is one woman who is in critical condition tonight. She has received 50% third-degree burns to her body. She's at Brodman Memorial. We'll have more a little bit later. Reporting live, Paul Dandridge.
All right, Paul. As we said at the beginning of the hour, Governor George Deukmejian has declared a state of emergency in Los Angeles County because of the fire at Baldwin Hills. And for more on that angle of the story, we go now to Larry Carroll. He's got that for us at the live-action camera desk.
Thank you very much, Ann. Government officials went to Baldwin Hills today not only to survey the damage firsthand, but to reassure those families whose homes and dreams were destroyed in that fire. Laura Diaz is at the command post right now in Baldwin Hills and has a report for us. Laura?
Larry, the heat is on right now to capture the arsonists who purposely set that Baldwin Hills fire. Now, local authorities are working hand in hand. We're talking about the fire department and the police department. They are determined to solve this mystery. Local officials are not the only ones concerned about the disaster. Governor Deukmejian came here on a special visit today. He held a news conference, and he deplored the fact that that fire was purposely set.
This particular fire here in Baldwin Hills, from the early reports, appears as though that this was intentionally started. That makes it even more tragic to know that individuals have lost their lives as a result of some deliberate, wanton action taken by some individuals. I certainly hope that law enforcement will be able to find who did commit these intentional acts, and certainly would also hope and expect that they would be brought to justice.
The governor and the Mayor Bradley toured the fire-devastated scene. Everywhere you looked, there was destruction where elegant homes had once stood. As they viewed the area, fire victims poured onto the streets to see what emergency aid was available. Officials assured them governmental help was on the way, that they would be able to put their lives back together again, that their dream houses would be whole again. Now, earlier the plea was made by officials not to use fireworks on July 4th. Conditions are very hazardous, and the mayor had this reminder to people.
The governor has indicated that people ought to be very careful with the use of fireworks. I want to remind people that in the city of Los Angeles, fireworks are illegal, and we want everybody to comply with that law. They're too dangerous.
That advice is something that we should all pay attention to. As they said, the conditions are very hazardous right now. We have extremely hot weather. We have winds, and these all combined to make the stuff that fires are made out of. That was good advice that we received there. As you know, earlier the governor did tour the area, and he declared it a disaster area. That means that we will be available for federal monies in this area, and that's something that people will need. That's very important. That is the story here. I'm Laura Diaz reporting live. Now back to the studio.
Thank you very much, Laura, and that caution cannot be overstated. Fireworks are dangerous, say nothing of illegal, in the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah, that we should know.
Absolutely.
By now, we should. Thank you. Well, the LA City Council is now offering a $25,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest of the arsonist, or there may have been more than one, who are suspected of setting the fire in Baldwin Hills. Another angle on this story, though, even before the flames were out yesterday, some people who lived in Baldwin Hills were criticizing the fire department. Joanna Shamina has more on this part of the story.
The system worked yesterday.
This morning, Fire Chief Don Manning defended his department's handling of yesterday's tragic fire. His appearance before concerned city council members today was partly due to complaints lodged yesterday by frustrated residents. In the confusion, several claimed response time was slow and water pressure virtually non-existent.
The water hoses just wasn't enough. Good 45 minutes before they even got up there. When they got there, they done what they could with what little water they had. Before I knew it, they were out of water.
When you have 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 homes involved, you will overtax the system.
The chief explained the area's water system just wasn't built to handle the drain yesterday, caused by the department's own needs and the many homeowners who took out their own hoses to water down roofs and yards. He also claimed the first units did arrive in a matter of minutes, but even they couldn't fight the Holocaust that had already engulfed a number of homes.
The fire developed so fast that I'm convinced that if we had literally had units in the Baldwin Hills area as that fire swept up that hill, we would have still lost homes. It was that fast.
I used to live in the neighborhood. It was a beautiful neighborhood. The chief was there. The chief certainly deserves, and his men deserve, a commendation. And it was really a tough fire.
Council members also learned today that the strip of land along La Brea Avenue where the fire started belonged to Pepperdine University. The school had been served 2 notices to clear the brush. Ironically, it was due to be cleaned next Monday. And it's this dry stuff that makes for the tinderbox conditions throughout the city. Even though 95% of property owners have complied with brush clearance laws, today the council members said that's not good enough. And they want to push for tougher enforcement, more helicopter patrols, and possibly controlled burns in coming weeks in order that yesterday's tragedy will not happen again. Joanna Shamina, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Some people, meantime, trying to rebuild life and limb after this fire. 3 of the burn victims are still at the Michael Jackson Burn Center of Brotman Memorial Hospital tonight. A woman identified as Ikla Hawk Hills was treated for smoke inhalation and burns, and 65-year-old Vivian Schertl remains in critical condition with burns over half of her body. Her husband, 77-year-old Milton Schertl, less seriously injured, has burns over 15% of his body. His burns suffered when he ran down the street between the rows of flaming houses.
Concern for my wife and the shock of what happened, too. I think there's the 2 factors there. I'm no psychiatrist, but I don't think you can fight this. I think you have to sort of roll with the punch and take it day by day, and that's all I know to do.
Mr. Schertl said that he and his son had visited with Mrs. Schertl, his wife, and that her spirits, despite her pain tonight, seemed good. What now for those who lost virtually everything only 24 hours ago? Well, they try to pick up the pieces and they try to rebuild. And if they need some inspiration, the community of North Park and Riverside County is the place to look. Jim Murray reports.
Half years ago, a fast-moving fire whipped through the North Park area of San Bernardino with a devastating cost in human terms. 2 lives lost, nearly 300 homes burned to the ground. What took only moments to destroy has taken months and in some cases years to rebuild. Some lots where homes once sat now remain vacant lots. But for those who did rebuild, the memories linger.
You deal with the tragedy of losing everything, and then you have to go through building it back. And you've got to be in a great frame of mind just to build a house to deal with a contractor. And to know, and
at least one anti-fireworks campaign, this one in the city of Brea.
Letters from our city council, and it's asking that we do not discharge any safe or same-type fireworks this year in the canyon area.
Don't worry, there won't be any. Well, despite such warnings, many families are continuing to buy up supplies of legal fireworks, and for those people, fire officials have some common sense words.
Having your children very well supervised.
Some other hints that may be done is to make sure that you're in an area that has no dry grass or combustibles around you. If you're in a residential street, the middle of the street would be fine.
Fire department says staying away from personal fireworks is still the best plan, and as an alternative, they suggest you attend one of the more than 30 professional fireworks displays scheduled throughout Los Angeles and Orange counties tomorrow night, and we vote for that.
Yes, absolutely. Also in Burbank earlier in the day today, there was some discussion about moving the display area.
This is Channel 7, the #1 station for news and information in Southern California. Eyewitness News continues now with Jerry Dunphy, Christine Lund, and Ted Dawson with sports, Dr. George with the weather, and the Eyewitness News team.
From the desert to the sea to all of Southern California, good evening. Here's the latest at 6. A number of people are still unaccounted for this evening in the aftermath of that Baldwin Hills fire. Police and fire department officials today began going through the rubble of that hillside neighborhood. The 2 people killed yesterday have now been identified as 77-year-old Mary Street and 55-year-old Robert Allen. Authorities said that they were trapped inside their house by iron bars on the windows. Fire investigators have now found incendiary devices just below where the fire started in 3 locations. An incredible tragedy. 53 homes destroyed, a number of others badly damaged. Governor George Duke-Majan toured the area today, then signed an emergency declaration. More on that side of the story now from Laura Dees.
Many are the victims of the Baldwin Hills fire, among those people whose homes were destroyed.
How many years have you lived here? 16?
The only thing we got was homes on our back.
But even though more than 50 homes were leveled, others damaged, and 2 victims left dead, Baldwin Hills residents were not alone in their plight. Today, Governor Duke-Majan made a special trip to the scene of devastation. He proclaimed it a disaster area, clearing the way for federal assistance.
One of the results of declaring in a state of emergency is that it sets in motion a request for some funding that would be made available. For some would be low-interest loan type funding, others would be some grants, but it brings into play all types of emergency services that the government is providing in situations of this nature.
Local officials were also ready and willing to help. Mayor Bradley toured the site, and today the county assessor said fire victims would be given a break on their property taxes.
And one burden we will be able to take off the backs of these people is paying any property tax on those homes that were destroyed. 2 of my appraisers have already identified those homes, and they will be taken off the assessment roll so that there will be no billing of property tax for those unfortunate homeowners in the coming year.
This assistance is just the beginning for victims of the Baldwin Hills flash fire. It's hoped it will be the beginning for residents putting their lives back together again. In Baldwin Hills, Laura Diaz, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
The Los Angeles City Council is offering a $25,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the arsonist suspected of setting that Baldwin Hills fire. And council members also heard the city fire chief defend firefighters' response to that deadly blaze as the best possible. Even as they watched their homes go up in smoke, some residents complained about firefighters' response time and water pressure that at times was virtually non-existent. Today, before the City Council, Chief Don Manning answered some of those questions, some of those complaints, some of those concerns. He had a lot of things to say, and here's how he commented on each one, point by point.
I was asked last night on the news media if I had it to do over again today, what would I do different? And I had to tell them, other than if I knew exactly where it was going to start, I would do exactly what I did. I am convinced that the response by the city to this fire was on the highest level possible for us to put together. We were at full strength and then some. When I walked through the area and flew over it last night, it was a tragedy that I hoped I'd never have to see. I saw dreams and hopes of these people that were gone and never can be restored.
Manning added that a repeat of yesterday's tragedy could easily happen again in the Southland. Brush conditions, extreme temperatures have created an explosive situation in many city areas. That last phrase, his. We borrowed it. That's a quote. Let's go now to Larry Carroll at the live action camera for more news.
There is still a strange, chilly feeling to look at Baldwin Hills and the condition in which it sits atop that hill even this evening. It just is otherworldly in its atmosphere. And Paul Dandridge has been up there for much of the afternoon and evening talking to the people and feeling that atmosphere and trying to get a sense from them of where their lives are and what happens next. We're going to go out to Paul right now. Paul?
Larry, they have been stunned, as you might well imagine, as they were through most of yesterday. It really came home today because, well, to turn it around, they came home, and home just wasn't here. The fire destroyed, as we have mentioned, 53 homes, 13 others damaged to the point where they cannot be lived in. Behind me, the fire trucks moving in, the police department moving in. They will spend the night for hot spots to make sure the area is secure. We're looking at some of the shots of the fire from yesterday, I believe. Yes, it went fast. It started, of course, with arson, at least 3 spots, and right up the hill from La Brea, and the police department is asking for help. I'm going to give you a phone number a little bit later on if you saw anything yesterday. We had 2 people who died, of course. They're just about 3 houses down from where we're standing right now. They searched through the rubble for people. They did not find any. 3 to 5 people still missing at this hour, and 1 woman, of course, in critical condition. This lady lived here 13 years. This is her as she saw her home for the first time today.
Apparently the fire was so hot that, you know, people were getting burned in the street just from the heat. Oh, God, what a horrible thing. Horrible. And to think that it was arson, that somebody did this. I had just left before it started, and when I came back, I couldn't get in because it was all blocked off. They wouldn't let me go in. And I had animals, cats and dogs. I don't know what happened to them.
There was another woman who talked about all the love on the street and how people were getting together, and she said they're all going to rebuild, they're all going to stay here, and they're going to be closer than ever. Love was the word.
We're trying to help each other. She and I stayed in the garage, my friend here, until it was so black we couldn't see. All of us, we've lost everything. We've lost our whole life. This is my house. I've been here 16 years. Miss Thomas, my friend Millie. You've had 30 years of living. Mrs. Mouton, and you saw us early this morning running around to see if Miriam was alive or dead. This hurts.
It is a testimony to the human spirit. How often have we seen this in Southern California? How much often will we see it again? We've heard all of the things about the roofs and all of that, but a real problem, of course, is the brush is so dry, whether it's this fire or a fire next week or the week after. 60% of the brush is dead, and it is ready to burn, and the fire chief is saying it is the worst that he's seen in 30 years. We've all got to be careful. These people are going to rebuild, and still we're hoping that the people who are missing will show up. I have that phone number. I want to give it to you if you saw anything yesterday concerning the arson fire. 485-2504, area code 213. That's the detectives. It's being considered a homicide. 213-485-2504. Back to you, folks.
Okay, let me say that one more time, Paul. 485-2504. If you have any information that might lead investigators to those who set those fires yesterday in Baldwin Hills. Jerry.
Another side of the story here. 3 of the burn victims from the fire are still at Brotman Memorial Hospital. Ekla Hills was treated for minor burns and smoke inhalation. 65-year-old Vivian Schertl remains in critical condition with third-degree burns over half of her body. Her husband, 77-year-old Milton, suffered burns on his hands, arms, and face. Mrs. Schertl, already burned, had fled the house just before Schertl arrived home. He had been unable to enter the home because of the extreme heat. Schertl said today that although 24 hours have passed, the whole tragedy really hasn't sunk in.
I'm no psychiatrist, but I don't think you can fight this. I think you have to sort of roll with the punch and take it day by day, and that's all I know to do. My burns are mostly heat. They're not from flame. That's a funny thing about that. There's so much heat radiated, I've found. You walk down the middle of a street with houses on both sides burning, and it's hot. And you're not near the flame.
Schertl has visited his wife and says her spirits seem good. Schertl will probably be discharged before long, but his wife is facing a stay of weeks, perhaps months, in the hospital.
Jerry, one of the grimmest, and in fact, undoubtedly the grimmest element of that terrible fire, the deaths. As we know, 2 Baldwin Hills residents are thought to have died at the hands of an arsonist, and as the law stands right now, if a person is convicted of their murders, he or she will not face the death penalty the way it stands presently. But State Senator Ed Davis is proposing a bill that would make suspects in arson murder cases subject to special circumstances, murder charges, and the death penalty.
But an arsonist today can, with moderate punishment if he's caught, just incinerate all the homes as happened here. All they have to do is go down La Brea Avenue and start a fire that raced up the hill. And in many places, and particularly in Southern California, in high heat and high winds, that kind of murder is possible any day in the week.
Senate Bill 208 would amend the Briggs Initiative passed in 1978 that inadvertently omitted the death penalty for arson. And big change if it happens. Jerry.
Just ahead here this evening, concern over 4th of July fireworks in all of this heat and the dry area. We'll have the latest on that. Big brush fire still raging, as we all know. 4th of July is tomorrow, and that increases the threat of damage and injuries. As Lonnie Lardner reports, fire officials fear the worst.
It's a multi-million-dollar business, an American tradition. Fireworks, bought and sold for fun. But the LA County Fire Department doesn't see it that way. Anything that explodes or fires into the air is illegal and dangerous. The department says they can hurt people and destroy property. The state is on fire, officials are saying, and Chief John England says weather and grass conditions are the worst he's seen in 30 years. He predicts a disastrous holiday weekend if people are careless. He's asking for our help.
The fires that we've had in San Diego, where over 60 homes were destroyed. The one in Baldwin Hills, where 50 homes were destroyed, remind us that disastrous fires can occur in any community, especially when the fire conditions are ripe.
Clearly, that is now, and the fire department is asking you to turn in your fireworks and avoid a crisis.
This is the culprit. This is the one that we did a study here in LA County in 1982. 99% of all the fire loss attributable to fireworks in 1982 is directly attributable to this one device, this bottle rocket.
In short, the fire department wants you and your children to choose a safer public display like the one scheduled here at the Rose Bowl. And if you need additional information on other specific locations, you can call 213-267-2411.
And the entire Emmy Award-winning Channel 11 News team.
Hello, everybody. I'm Marcia Bramlin, and welcome to our 8 o'clock news.
And I'm Jay Scott. Our top story tonight, the wildfires that continue to devastate Southern California.
Well, the destruction and the fear seem like a nightmare. As of tonight, a dozen separate fires have burned thousands of acres in Southern California and caused millions of dollars in damage. The fire that is the most threatening at this point is the brush fire near Ojai. Firefighters saying that a shift in the winds could actually wipe out the entire town of Ojai. So far, 3,000 people have been evacuated. 27,000 acres have burned. The fire is only 20% contained at this hour, and firefighters say they have absolutely no idea when the blaze will be completely out. And this is the scene today of what is left from the devastating Baldwin Hills fire. 2 people dead there, 1 woman missing, 53 homes have been destroyed. And now the people who live in the area are trying to sort through the rubble and figure out where to go from here.
Channel 11's Larry Atterbury is in Baldwin Hills tonight at the scene of yesterday's disaster where the search for one victim continues. Larry?
Well, what we saw in the firestorm yesterday, of course, is just ruins tonight. Let's take a look at what we can see. All of this is looking over what the fire roared up the side of that cliff and into all of these areas here with these homes almost completely destroyed. People standing around tonight trying to figure out the answer to the questions that you were asking. What to do next? How do they do it? How do they get their lives back together again? The big activity here tonight, of course, is the search for that final missing person, the woman who is so far has not been found. The firemen tell me that they think they are close to making a discovery there, but there is nothing official yet on that. The one person remains missing in this area tonight. And so we get an update on the search that continued all day today from Channel 11's Saida Pagan.
We're just hoping that maybe there's some way that she got blown over the fence or something in
days,
maybe somewhere somewhere.
August Burns and his wife Mary are hoping against hope that his sister Marie Gladden may have survived yesterday's horrendous fire. The 62-year-old woman lived on Don Carlos in a cul-de-sac where all the homes were destroyed.
The last time anyone heard from the missing woman was yesterday afternoon, shortly after the fire had begun. She'd called her sister-in-law and asked her to call other neighbors to tell them that the fire was heading toward their homes.
This afternoon, firefighters continued their search for the missing woman, a search which they believe will be long and tedious.
We're going through all of the vegetation, every portion outside where possibly someone could have fallen, but covered over.
In the meantime, Gladden's close-knit family is keeping this sign outside their Baldwin Hills home. But so far, there's been no calls. Channel 11's Andy Reynolds has this report on other fire victims.
Jean Lawrence left her Baldwin Hills home yesterday afternoon. It was still standing and undamaged. But when she returned this morning, all she found were the charred remains of a life of dreams.
It's gone. All of your work. It's all, everything is gone.
With the help of her sons, Jean searched the rubble.
Well, we have to accept it, that's all. We have to accept it. Nothing you can do about it. Here today and gone today. That's it.
Who's left with the furs?
I had 2 in there, then I had a sable soul in the other there, and I had my jewelry, my emeralds, everything.
Also destroyed in the fire were priceless musical manuscripts that belonged to her son, saxophonist Azar Lawrence. And Jean's reaction to the devastating blaze is typical of most residents. She'll rebuild.
That's right, I have, and I love the area. It's quiet, peaceful, and I'm going to try it again. I'm going to start all over.
And now with the latest on the arson investigation, Channel 11's Hal Eisner.
Arson investigators spent the better part of today combing through the now blackened hillside just adjacent to La Brea Avenue. Although they are not being specific, they do say they found several crude incendiary devices here, powerful enough to start the blaze.
We do have multiple points of origin of the fire, and we do have an incendiary device used to start the fire.
Authorities say the incendiary devices triggered a fast-moving firestorm that shot flames straight up this hillside right into scores of hilltop homes. The fire spread so quickly that 50-year-old Robert Allen and 70-year-old Mary Street were unable to flee their home in time. This was a neighborhood in ruin, one on first view that could easily be described a disaster area. To make sure, Mayor Tom Bradley and Governor George Deukmejian took a first-hand look. The governor then officially declared the area a disaster, making way for the federal government to do the same, which officially will make it possible for the homeless here to get low-interest federal loans.
The governor, of course, was here, as we saw, and the mayor as well, and standing right next to me is the councilman from this district, David Cunningham. Now, they talked about an emergency. What will that mean? How is that going to help the people right away here?
Well, Larry, let me first of all correct, this is Pat Russell's district. I have a fondness here because I used to live in the neighborhood. But let me say that we're working very feverishly to try to make certain that resources are available so that we can go forward with all the necessary procedures for getting relief and assistance to the people who live here in this neighborhood.
The other item I wanted to ask you about was the city council was talking about new laws, perhaps something to do with brush, perhaps other laws that might be enacted. What do you think could be done?
Well, we're quite concerned about brush clearance and enforcement of brush clearance. Of course, one of the problems with enforcement of brush clearance, in the past it has been the responsibility of the local homeowners and the properties that they live in.
In this case, they didn't do it, though.
I understand that, and we're going to have to find a way to impress upon people more and forcefully how they do it.
You're going to have to get tough, aren't you?
Well, you know, there's always the due process of the law, and it's not tough enough sometimes.
Thank you very much. Councilman David Cunningham. That's the report from right here. We'll have any late developments for you, of course, and a full report again at 10 o'clock.
All right.
Reporting live from Baldwin Hills. I'm Larry Atterbury, Channel 11 News.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Larry. Thank you very much. As
Sure.
we told you at the top of the news, the Wheeler Springs brush fire in the Ojai Valley.
Tom Lawrence, Wendy Gordon, Scott St. James, Sports, Andrew Amador, Weather, Russ Nichols, Consumer-Wise, Chantal Westerman, Entertainment. LA's Prime Time News, the 9 o'clock news.
Hello, everyone. For more than 50 Baldwin Hills families, life will never be the same.
It is the day after the fire, and all that remains of a lifetime of hard work is rubble and ash. Now authorities are focusing their attention on the murderer or murderers who deliberately set this deadly fire. Channel 9's Angela Estelle has more now in this live report. Angela.
Tom, I'm standing in the heart of the burned-out area on Don Carlos Street, a house right behind me, 4216. There has been a grisly discovery this evening. With me is Lieutenant Dan Cook of the LAPD. Lieutenant, what can you tell me?
About an hour ago, the firemen, while conducting the search in this area, uncovered the body of a woman in the bathtub of the house next door to this one. She apparently had filled the tub in order to get away from the flames, and she was consumed anyway. We don't have identification on her as yet. The detectives are on the way here. They should be here shortly, and then it becomes a coroner's case to establish identification of who the victim might be.
A little earlier, we did have some pictures taken of the firefighters when they were digging through the rubble. However, my understanding is the woman's body was inside. Is this true? She was inside in a tub?
Yes, she was inside the bathroom in the tub, which she had filled with water, apparently.
This appears as though it was a move, I guess, to avoid the flames if she was fully clothed.
That's probably a good explanation for why she was there, because she was clothed.
There has been a woman reported missing for several days. I guess there's no idea if this could possibly be the woman.
Well, that would be a speculation at this point. We really don't know who she is, and until such time as the detectives conduct a very thorough examination, as if it were an actual homicide situation. That's how detailed